The mutant nation has been decimated. Dr. Stasis, a clone of Mr. Sinister, has finally moved against the X-Men in a spectacular fashion by tricking Professor X into sending them all off-world through portals with no end goals, effectively causing Professor X to murder most of the mutants. What does this mean for the X-Men and the remaining mutants? Well, they aren't happy about this. But today we're going to see some of their reactions directly in X-Men number 25. This is Comicstorian. I make audio dramas of current comic books. If you enjoyed today's storyline, consider going to your local comic book store and adding it to your collection. This is a continuation of the Fall of X, the event that will end the X-Men. It was only a few short weeks ago that Orchis launched their biggest attack yet against the mutants, causing their fractured friendship with humanity to completely shatter. Dr. Stasis found a way to taint the medicines that Krakoa had given the humans to effectively kill them at the press of a button. What's more, he's also managed to shut down the mutants' Krakoan gateways. Since then, Dr. Stasis spoke to the world that their once protectors were the cause of all the bloodshed that happened at the Hellfire Gala, and that they've taken measures to ensure that they can never attack them again. But the key to their success was not just in their planning, but it was also with the help of Firestar, a mutant who rejected Professor X's vision, a mutant that allowed Orchis to win. Or at least, that's what the late Jean Grey made everyone think, when in reality, it was a part of Jean's plan to plant Firestar within Orchis to gain information. Stasis goes on stating that even though the mutants have showed their true colors, they are handling them with dignity by not just arresting any mutants found, but deporting them to Mars. However, there is one mutant that Dr. Stasis has decided to keep on Earth, one person integral to his plan to convince the world that the events at the Hellfire Gala were in fact true: Cyclops. Recently, the world has thought Cyclops to be dead, so Cyclops took on the persona of Captain Krakoa. With Cyclops captured, Dr. Stasis locked him away, stating that they could work together in freeing what mutants were left if only he would endorse the story of the Mutant massacre. But Cyclops refused, forcing Stasis to proceed with their ruthless tactics of removing the mutant population, whether they liked it or not. Though not all hope is lost. During the forced exodus by Professor X, there was someone trained specifically to resist his influence. New leaders of the X-Men, Talon and Synch, along with a handful of other mutants, managed to escape the very last second. Emma Frost, Rasputin 4, the newly reborn mutant Miss Marvel, and the Red Queen herself, Kate Pryde. Except Kate decided to try and handle things in her own way. While patching her up from another night of fighting, Synch tells her that there isn't a whole lot of them these days, and they need to stick together if they're going to get through this. He asks that she join them so that they can gather information on the whereabouts of any mutant remaining, along with the details of Orchis strongholds. Kate says she'll get them. She just isn't doing it with them. Meanwhile, over on Mars, the civil war is now raging on the planet. The warlike Iraqi did not see the majority of their cousins from Earth as anything more than weak. Now, those weak mutants have been deposited on their planet, and they're gathering around a lone spaceport in the Promethean Plain. However, one mutant saw the impossible. Someone walked through the gate. The closed gate. The gate that will allow no one to go back. It was Kitty Pryde, aka Shadowcat, aka Kate, that stepped through the portal, and he runs up to her asking how she did that, and is she there to save them? She tells him that she doesn't know what he saw, but whatever it was, he was mistaken. But the mutant presses her, asking what's going on back home. Wasn't she the one who testified before Congress? Kate grabs him and phases part of her sword into him, telling him that if he speaks before she asks, it'll be his last time ever. Just answer all of her questions and they can both go on with their lives. She then asks who he is. The mutant explains that his name is Woofer. The X-Men saved him, but after whatever happened at the Hellfire Gala, Orchis has been dumping the mutants here. They said that they'd be family, but it's not true. Kate tells him that things are looking bleak, and she can't phase anyone through the gates with her. She's going to need his help. He says that the X-Men saved him once before, right? Time for him to pay it forward. Be a leader. Keep everyone safe until help can arrive. So she hands him a book, and she tells him to take a census of everyone here. Names and powers. She'll come back, and she'll collect it later. Back on Earth, Sync is now working with Captain America and his newly reformed Unity Squad. But even with the helping hand, Kate refuses to join in. And after the latest meeting, Emma, still disguised as one of Tony Stark's assistants, pulls Kate aside, asking her to explain what happened to her at the Hellfire Gala. How did Kate survive, and why is she so shook? Kate says the world ended, and maybe they helped give it a push. Emma grabs her, telling her that it's not true, but it's exactly what her abusers would very much like her to believe. What Emma is asking is what happened to Kate when she fell through the gate. Something strange happened shortly after Orchis deactivated the Krakoa gateways. Mutants were unable to pass through them, all except for one mutant who could never, Kate Pride. After shutting the entire network of portals down, Kate was leaning against one when she happened to pass through it, landing right at the feet of several Orchis soldiers. They attempted to subdue her, to report that one gateway was still active, but Kate quickly phased through their comms to stop them from getting word out. Still reeling from pain and anger about what happened at the gala, she told them that she didn't want to kill them, and that if they surrendered, she will make sure that they're treated fairly, unlike how they treated the mutants. The soldiers all began looking at each other, asking, what should they do? And then, they laughed. Anger boiled over, and Kate began to react on instinct from a life she once lived long ago. The first one, he died whistling, only because he was trying to breathe as Kate shattered his windpipe. She then phased the next guy's gun into his head, stating that Krakoa was a land of laws, the first being murder no man. She guesses that's coming off the books now. The next soldier charged at her, and when he fell through her and onto the floor, she gave him that extra push, stepping on his head until his head was halfway through the ground. Another decided to lunge at her, so she grabbed and threw him through another person, melding them together and killing them both. As adrenaline surged, she suddenly remembered that Jean Grey and Bobby Drake and so many others were killed. She was trained by the Ninja Ogun, but what she did that night was made possible by learning it from a friend who happened to be the best at what he did, and what he did wasn't very nice. Two more soldiers began to open fire, but as the bullets passed through Kate, she walks forward, grabbing 2 grenades off of them, placing the grenades inside of their chests. The final 3 stare in horror as their comrades exploded, but Kate was already running them down. She focuses first on the one trying to reach Central Command and phases him out of his suit just enough that it gets lodged in his own throat. Kate looks at another and without saying a word, punches through his chest. And when her eyes fall on the final member, he puts up his hands stating that the X-Men saved him. Then when he was up on Bloom, he got sucked into space and the X-Men saved him. She puts her hands on that man's face. Yes, that's what the X-Men do. We save everyone that we can, even our enemies. It's a shame. The X-Men are dead. With a flick of her hands, she snaps that man's neck. Back with Emma, Kate tells her that nothing happened. Now, if she's done explaining nothing happened, she has a war to win. Emma says yes. They should coordinate their efforts with Sync and Talon. Where is she going now? And as Kate phases away, she says that she doesn't want any help. She's just gonna kill Firestar. Now, I'm a little iffy on how much Fall of X I should be covering, because I want to cover it all like I'm doing with Night Terrors, but you guys are a little iffy on watching X-Men content here. So this is my plea in question to you. If you want more X-Men, like this video, share it with your friends, let me know in the comments down below. Do all 3, that'll help the engagement, and if the video does well, we will do more Fall of X here, and hopefully just keep doing X-Men. So let me know your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube memberships or to our Patreon to get early access, and I will see you next time right here.